Okay, just when you thought you were getting a handle on pointers, along comes pointers to pointers. Okay, so what are we talking about? Create a pointer that holds the address of another pointer. Can you think what that could possibly look like? We call such a pointer to a pointer. That's all it is. It's simply a pointer that holds the address of another pointer. Don't get too scared of them. A pointer to a pointer could be declared as follows. Let's assume that it's a pointer to a char. Char star star pointer. That's how you would read that in English. What we're talking about now is two levels of indirection. The address of something that is the address of a character. That's how you read that. You might actually write the code that looks like this. Let's say you've got a character C and its value is the letter A. Then you could have P underscore C, which is a pointer to a character, and that's, well, the address of C. Then you could have another variable, P underscore C, in other words a pointer to a character, and that would be the address of the pointer to the character. Getting confused yet? When do we use these things? Well, they're most often used when you pass a pointer. You need to pass a pointer, let's say you need to pass a pointer into a function, and you want that function to be able to actually change the value of the pointer. Let's rewind for a second. Remember, back when we first introduced pointers, that the reason we had pointers in the first place was that we wanted to give our functions the ability to change their parameters. Like if we had two parameters to a function, both of them integers, and we wanted to swap them. How would we do that? Well, we'd have to pass in the address of both of those parameters. In other words, we'd have to pass in pointers to both of those integers that we started with. So now getting back to this, what would we do if we were passing in a pointer to a function and we actually wanted that function to change the pointer? Well, we'd actually have to pass in the address of that pointer. In other words, we'd be passing in a pointer to a pointer. Works exactly the same way as it did with integers. You can also use pointer to pointers when you're talking about multi-dimensional arrays, and we've kind of seen this already. Remember the old multi-dimensional array? That is an array of strings or an array of characters. Remember that? argv. You could just similarly write that as char star star argv. In fact, a lot of people do write it like that, and either of those is completely interchangeable. So that is a pointer to a character, or if you like, a pointer to a string. And in fact, you can actually have a pointer to a pointer, and a pointer to a pointer to a pointer to a pointer, and you can go on as long as you like. It gets a little bit out of control, and I don't suggest that you actually go and try and do that. I've seen pointers to pointers quite frequently, quite commonly in C code, and I've seen pointers to pointers, oh, not very often, just maybe just a handful of times. That's a pointer to a pointer, just maybe 3 times in my programming life. As for 4 levels of indirection, a pointer to a pointer to a pointer to a pointer, I've never seen anyone actually use that in commercial code. It's just silly. If you were going to do something like that, you'd actually have to break it up. It's just ridiculous. I can't imagine why somebody would need to do that. Anyway, let's have a look at an example of a pointer to a pointer. This is pointer to pointer.c, and we're going to use the old employee example again. Now, we're going to go down to the end here. We're going to actually have 2 employees. We're going to have an array of 2 employees. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but this is how you initialize a structure. You can initialize one structure like that. You can initialize an array of structures like that. If you've never seen that before, or you didn't expect that it would ever look like that, then pause the slide at this point and have a bit of a look at that and convince yourself that you know what's going on. In case you're wondering what the actual fields are, that's the name field, the address field, their age field, and their salary field. And then I have a pointer to an employee, and I want to set that pointer to point to the oldest one, whoever of the 2 is the oldest. Now it's obviously going to point to Fred because Fred is the oldest. Okay, so here is the function where I want to set the elder pointer. I want to set the elder pointer to point to the oldest one. So I pass in the array, like so, and then I pass in the pointer, and I say to the function called oldest, please change the value of my pointer. Please cause my pointer to point to whichever of the two employees is the eldest. In other words, I'm asking the function to change a pointer. Now the only way I can do that is if I pass in the address of that pointer. Okay, so let's see what oldest actually looks like. That's up here. There's my array of employees. I could have equally as well as written that like that, and that would have been exactly the same. I might leave it like that. And notice that this is now a pointer to an employee. So we test to see which one of them is the eldest. Now I say the contents of that pointer, which is in itself a pointer. Remember that the contents of a pointer to a pointer is a pointer. Remember that? Okay, so that pointer is going to be the address of the first element. Otherwise it's going to be the address of the second element. That little bit of code is quite straightforward. You could write this a different way. You could say just emps plus 0. I'll leave those both examples in so that you can see this is now the interchangeability between arrays and pointers. Remember that from a couple of modules ago? That line of code there, or that expression plus that expression, they're almost identical. The only difference is that one of them's got a 0 and one of them's got a 1. Anyway, the important thing that I want you to look at here is that expression there, the contents of ePointer. An ePointer is itself a pointer to a pointer, so the contents of it is a single pointer or just a regular pointer. Okay, that's how it looks. Let's see if it runs. It's going to be pretty simple. It's just going to print out the value 51. The oldest employee is aged, should just say 51. Let's check if that works. Okay, run. The oldest employee is aged 51, exactly. So it is working. Good. Okay, that's the chapter now covered on pointers, on advanced pointers. Let's have a look at what exercises we need to do on those.